I think we're now live. Can someone try and sign into Hangout to make sure that it's actually live?
Yeah, I'm seeing it live on the YouTube now.
Am I live?
Yeah.
Awesome.
With a delay.
You can see me? All right, okay. So everyone, today we're going to be doing the live broadcast onto YouTube of our Jump Assignment 1, okay? We're going to be going through the digital agency project, and we've got some people in the room today that will be able to ask questions, and you'll be able to ask questions live in the question column on the right-hand side. My name's Sarah Penny, I'm the unit leader, and I will be leading this discussion today. And I've got my colleague here, Mark, who will be asking questions, and we'll be having a bit of a chat about the assignment. Any questions that you tweet on DMMP 1718 or ask in the column will be asked by Mark. So I'll pass over to Mark.
Hi, so I'm Mark Longbottom. I'm one of the associate lecturers doing tutorials through the week and helping Sarah today. So if we get straight into this, and if you can give us an overview of what we are, as the students are going to be talking about today for this assignment, Sarah.
Thanks, Mark. So we're going to be talking through the assignment. So as you all know, you've got to do two assessments in this unit this year. The first one is the digital agency project, which is broken down into 4 blog posts. So what we're going to do today is talk about the really important things that you need to put in there. We're going to go through each element of the blog post and keep reminding you that the deadline is Wednesday the 13th of December at 5 to 12. Okay?
And the important bit, how much is this worth the students' overall grades?
So this is worth 40% of your unit, and each element is broken down in the mark scheme. So if you go onto Moodle, you'll be able to download some important documents to follow today. So you've got the assignment brief, which will have at the back of it your mark scheme and a lot of information in there, and we'll be chatting through this. And also I've got some assignment 1 briefing notes that you'll be able to look through at any time.
So can we get a context of the whole assignment now from the start, Sarah?
Okay, so this is a group assignment. Everyone's going to be working in groups of 2 to 5. You can't be a single person. You can't work as one person. So you're going to have to at least find another colleague to work with, because otherwise it would be an individual assignment. You need to make sure that you're not in groups more than 5, and we advise you to work in groups within your tutorial groups. Therefore, you'll be able to work on it each week in the tutorial. So the concept of this is that you're going to set up your own agency online. You're going to post about it on a blog, and you're going to assume a position of a full service digital agency. We're going to ask you to set up a blog site, but don't worry about this. We will be doing this next week in your tutorials. We'll be talking through blogging and blog posts, but we recommend you use Blogger or WordPress at the moment. You're going to have to start blogging about industry issues. So we've also talked about, before today, we've talked about everything that's going on in the industry, the digital revolution, the digital ecosystem, and what does that mean. So you're going to have to look at the industry issues and trends and what's going on, and show that you can display some understanding of what it is going on and blog about it. So you're going to be going through the next 10 weeks in this tutorial, and in your own time working through this assignment, and you'll be taking it stage by stage and going through each of the blog posts. So you'll have loads of content. All of your tutorials between now and Christmas will be expecting you to blog on this blog all of the outputs of those tutorials. So each week you will have content to post.
Okay, so what kind of industries, you're talking about industries there, so what kind of industries can you suggest, give examples for students that they're going to be using?
So what I'd recommend is, if you're on the PR course, obviously you've shown interest straight away through UCAS and through the university that you're interested in PR. So at that point, we'd expect you to be looking at the PR industry, what's going on in that industry, and talk about that. But if you're going on to marketing management and you're not quite decided, you've got loads of different things. You could be interested in sports management and decide to blog about being a digital sports management agency and specialise in sports marketing. You could also look at stuff like beauty industry if you're interested in beauty. And if you were doing a retail degree, it would be obviously that you'd linger towards that, because you'd be reading around these subjects a lot in your sessions, and we want to make sure that you're doing something that you're interested in. So what we'd recommend is you to pick an industry and to set up your digital agency around that.
And product is something like an iPhone or iPhone 8, the sort of thing we're going to be looking for?
We wouldn't recommend that. That gives you such a narrow scope talking about one product. So what we'd say is if you're really interested in, for example, iPhones and the new release of the iPhone 8, then we would recommend you to look at something like the technology industry and how people promote the technology industry online. So blog about those sorts of things instead, rather than picking a specific product within an industry.
Where would you start then, say, if it was for an agency or an industry area?
Well, last week we talked in the lecture about the digital ecosystem, and I gave you some really good posts that you could go towards, the e-consultancy, and different websites that you could look at and talk about what is going on in the industry. Look at stuff like Euromonitor, you can look at Mintel and see all these different blogs and see what is going on in the industry and read what other people are doing. But also I'd say that you need to be looking at companies that are doing this. Go and look at agencies that are out there at the moment that are blogging, because we want you to be able to do that, and that is what the assignment is about. So make sure that you're looking at different companies, looking at what is going on in the industry, looking at credible research such as Mintel, Euromonitor, and bring this all together into a blog post. And that's the sort of thing that you can do straight away. Go and have a look what's going on in the industry.
And where might they find extra for the students? Could we be putting stuff in that extra areas online where they could be looking?
So if you were following us online, which 34 of you are and a few of you in here are, we've got this already up on Moodle, and I've put a link into the additional resources of Manchester Digital. So that's all digital agencies in Manchester at the moment that will be talking about on their websites, on their blogs, about the industry around Manchester and nationally or internationally if they are international firms. But one thing you will notice about these companies is that they are trying to sell their products or service. Their websites and their blogs are them talking to clients. So they're going to be talking really positively about what's going on in email, what's going on in Twitter, what's going on in Periscope, what's going on in Snapchat, and all these positive things. And you need to remember at the end of the day, you're going to be doing this as an assignment. And one of the marking criteria is going to be critical appraisal, looking through this, critical reflection, critical writing. So although that you are setting up your own digital agency, we want you to have this academic content in there. We want you to be able to negatively say what's going on in the market as well as positively. And what you will notice about these industry blogs that are specifically from live agencies is that they are really positive, but then you go and look at your Mintel report and it'll tell you something else that's going on. And what we want you to have is an unbiased overview of what is going on in the industry, rather than you just trying to sell your products or service to a client.
Excellent, that's good. And at least we know where they can be looking and keep pointing them in the tutorials and everything. Can you tell us now what the aims of the assignment are, or the beginning of the aims of the assignment? Okay.
So looking at the assignment brief, we've got 3 main areas that we're going to be assessing through this assignment, and we're going to be doing this through multiple of methods. So what you are going to be doing is 4 blog posts, okay? What we're going to be looking at for you to do is to consider the relationship between digital communications and the business strategy. So how do businesses use digital communications strategically to target audiences, to sell their products, to gain interest, to gain brand awareness? So we want you to be talking about that, and we need you to consider those relationships. How does using one platform positively, negatively impact the business strategy, and what is the business strategy? So you're going to be coming up with these things, and you're going to be talking about it in these blog posts. We're going to be looking at you to analyse opportunities and consider contemporary issues within the modern business arena. And some people go, that's a lot of waffle. But what we actually want you to be doing here is, what are the opportunities? You've got to do a blog post with a video in it that is a client pitch. What is the opportunities out there in the modern business arena for your client that you're going to pick out of the list of clients? And we'll mention them in a bit. You'll have to pick from certain clients and use them and come up with a pitch for them. So that's what we mean by that. And the other things is that we want to explore examples of digital practice. You're not doing this on your own, and you're doing this within an industry that is practical. There are people every day doing digital marketing campaigns, looking at different platforms. We want you to be able to mention your client pitch, mention your blog post within what is going on in the industry, using industry examples, using industry justifications. So we want you to be analysing what is going on in the market and have this business awareness.
Okay, so how many tasks are there for this assignment?
So the 4 tasks that are going to be going on in this is 4 blog posts. This is a group assignment. You'll be working on all of these posts as a group, so you won't be picking one each. They will need to be done together. One will strategically lead onto the other, which will lead onto the other, which will lead onto the other. So I'll give you an overview of them, and then we'll go into them in a bit more detail later. But blog post 1, which is a written appraisal of one digital platform. Okay, sounds a little bit scary. We're using academic words like appraisal, digital platform, but what that actually means, and if you look in the textbook and look what it means, is that we want you to do an evaluation of a platform. And I want you to see both the positives, the negatives, the pros, the cons, what's gone on well in the market, and what case studies have done this platform really well, what case studies have done this platform really badly, what is your academic justification, have you done loads of research in this? And we want you to kind of get into the nitty-gritty and the detail of this platform in that first blog post. Then in the second blog post, you're going to be doing a little bit more creative. And we're going to be asking you to create a video that pitches the campaign idea to your chosen digital platform. Okay? So what you need to do in that is remember, it's a pitch. These are a client that you're pitching to. And in industry, there might be 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 agencies all pitching for one client. And this is what's going to be happening in the classroom. There's going to be loads of you picking the same client, and you're all going to have to do your own creative pitch. So you need to convince me as the client and as the person who's marking your assignment, why would I use this platform? Why would I use email? Why would I use mobile? What platform have you picked? Okay, and you're going to have to convince me in a really enthusiastic and a really creative way to use your campaign idea. Then we've got blog post 3. We're starting to get a little bit more academic here, and we want to see you looking at the justification for the suitability of the chosen platform for the client brief. So what's your target audience? Where are your target audience? How do you know that your target audience is using that platform? Where is all this research come from? We want you to be doing credible research, not Wikipedia. If I see Wikipedia, I'm going to be looking very upset about it, about this assignment. What I want to see is Mintel. I want to see some e-consultancy. I want to see credible industry resources that are being used to apply and justify the underpinnings of your creative pitch and your first blog post. And then finally, your blog post 4 is going to be your provide full evidence of references and sources used. So this is a blog post where you're going to list all of your references in a full Harvard style blog post. So all of your references in Harvard style. There'll be a link on Moodle. There's a link on the website, on the library website about Harvard referencing, and we'll expect you to do that blog post explaining all of the different references that you've used throughout your other blog posts. And that, in essence, is the 4 different areas.
Wonderful. So starting with blog post 1, how much is it worth, and what do the students really need to know about this to get going? Okay, so blog post number 1, if you get out your assignment brief and criteria, you'll see straight away what blog post 1 is worth 50% of this coursework. Okay?
And what we want you to do is praise one digital platform with a range of range of services provided by an agency. So we're looking at the platform. You've got to pick one platform. Don't try and do all of the platforms that we've suggested. This has been done in the past and it has been done very badly. So you just pick one platform and you write a 1,500 word blog post. And that's not a lot of words when you've got to think about all the things that have got going there. So it is about crafting your writing style and making sure that you're writing economically and to the point. So the digital platforms available to you to appraise are going to be blogs, which we'll be doing next week, emails, search engine, social media, and mobile. So you can pick one of those platforms. What I would say is social media is usually the most popular platform, but we will be giving you lectures on each of these areas, and I'll be trying to convince you why brands should be using email and why blogs are going to be a massive tool of communication as well. So corporate blogs. So you need to think about these things, decide which one you want to do.
Okay, before we go on to the second one, we just had a question on the live chat. Do we write in first, second, or third person?
That's a great question. What I would say is what we've put in our writing style top tips is avoid using first person in your blog posts. We don't want I or we in the blog post. We want it to be in a formal writing style like you would see on industry blogs.
Okay, so going forward, still on blog post 1, what's the exact content, and have you got tips for students on how to do this? So what we've come up with, and what you'll be able to see in the slides that we put on as a bit of a support, is that there are 6 areas that we say are going to be really important for you to put in there. So if you are writing strategically and you're thinking about it carefully, you might be structuring your blog post around maybe 6 paragraphs, because these are the 6 elements that we are expecting you to have there. So we're going to want you to define the digital platform. We're going to want you to explain what the digital platform is, what it's used for, and all of the different things. So you'll be able to use your Chaffee, which is your core textbook, as a starting point for this. We're going to be looking at, in the second element, an explanation of the techniques associated with this digital platform. So if you pick social media, how do you use it? What are the techniques? What are the tools? Okay, so you need to be getting into a little bit more nitty-gritty and a little bit more strategic. And once again, we're going to be doing lectures on this, and we're going to be doing, there'll be loads of additional support on Moodle around what you should be reading, and then you can start at those points. We're going to be looking for a justification of this digital platform. So why have you chosen this one over the others? You've got 5 to pick from, so why have you picked this platform? We want you to come up with your critique of the digital platform. So we know that there's pros, we know that there's cons. So what are these? You've justified the platform with some pros, so now we want to see the balanced argument. What could go wrong? What is the nitty-gritty? What are some examples of where it's gone well, and what are some examples of where it's gone poorly? So that is number 5. We want to know some examples of how it's been used in recent campaigns. And I mean recent. I don't want to know about what happened in 2012. I want to know what's happening in 2017. And then the 6th area is to summarise the appraisal, reminding the client why they should invest in this digital platform. So you can't lose sight of the fact that this is going to be a blog post that goes on your commercial blog and is towards a client. Using this platform, which is your specialism, as you've decided to write a blog post about it, why should clients be using that, and why should clients be using you to use that blog post? So those are going to be your 6 areas that we're going to expect it to see in there. And then we're going to look at a few tips. So writing style, straight away, as we've said, avoid using first person. We know that that isn't good, and we say that you shouldn't be doing that. You need to think about the tone of how you write this. We're not saying that you have to write in a completely formal tone, but you are targeting this at potential clients. So how would you phrase this? What phrases would you use? Colloquialisms if you are going to be an international brand or a national brand. So you need to think about the tone of voice and how you choose to write it and construct your sentences. And don't forget
the core text, and academic references. You must be referencing. You're going to be using loads of information. You're going to be using justifications. And we want to see some embedded references in there.
Okay, so moving on. Blog post or video post 2. Can you just enlighten the students on that and where they're going to be going and sort of clients we want to look at?
So if you look at the brief, it tells you exactly what clients that you can do. So blog post number 2 is a video. It is your creative pitch. It is a 2-minute video. Anything over 2 minutes, we don't mark. So you can make a 5-minute video, but we'll only mark the first 2 minutes. And you can choose one of the following clients. So we've got Nando's. Oh yeah, there's a few people that like Nando's in here. We've got the Couples clothing range, mainly because that's my favourite clothing brand, the Couples. And it's got some really good strategic branding around that as well at the moment, so you can tie into that brand. We've got the PlayStation VR for anyone who's a little bit more techy and wants to go into gaming. And we've got the O2 Ritz Manchester, so the music venue just down the road here. And we've got Birchbox, so beauty boxes that get delivered to your house once a month. So those are the clients that you can pick from, and blog post 2 is a 2-minute video around these.
Fantastic. So nights out at Nando's there. What do students need to focus on for the video and the content for the pitch?
Okay, that's great. So students need to remember that this is an outline to your client. You're always targeting your clients. This is a creative pitch and your audience is a client. And the audience is, for example, if you were doing Nando's, your audience is Nando's marketing department, because you want them to take on your digital agency to conduct this marketing activity. So you need to not lose sight of that. So what we have said in our slides is that you must include an outline of the client. We want to know straight away who the client is and that you know who the client is. Because we've done a lot of research around these brands as tutors and as people who've set this assignment. We want to know that you know something about the brand, because it might be that you're responding to a client brief and they want to know that you understand what their core message is, what their objectives are for their campaign. We want you to clarify what the platform is that you're going to use. So are you going to use social media? Are you going to use a blog post, your corporate blog post? Are you going to be using mobile? What platform have you decided to use as part of your campaign? And we want you to see some objectives. We want one objective you hope the campaign to achieve. So this will link into POM quite closely. So you'll be doing corporate and marketing objectives as part of POM, and this is how it links in really closely. And you'll be able to look at the POM's core text. Okay, so we've got a question in the room.
On the PowerPoint, it's got the wrong things written down.
That's the old PowerPoint.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's what's from the Moodle area.
I've just updated it. Yeah. Okay. So if you're on Moodle for some reason, if you've updated it earlier, if you've downloaded it earlier today, some of the clients have changed. But don't worry about that. It is correct on Moodle now, hopefully. Okay. So the clients are Nando's, the Couples clothing range, which used to be on King Street and is now a concession in Selfridges, and they've got a website. The PlayStation VR, O2 Ritz and Birchbox. We've got another question in the room. O2 Ritz and Birchbox.
Do the blog posts have to be uploaded onto your personal social media, or is it literally just straight onto the blog?
So you're going to set up your own blog, and once that blog's for the agency is set up, you will be doing just on that blog. Okay. Not onto your personal social media. So that was another question. So do you want to when you create these blog posts, do they have to go onto our personal social media, or are they going to go on the agency set up blog posts, and they're all going to go onto the blog? Another question?
No, we have to make weekly blog posts.
Yeah.
Is that separate to this?
Yes. So what we've been asked in the room is, do we need to do weekly blog posts, and is this separate to the assignment? Yes, so everything that you are going to be doing in your tutorials, we would expect you to upload onto your blog, so then there is constant content on your blog to be able to optimize it. Okay, so you need to link it into POM. So if we go back to the top tips, outline of the client, clarification of the digital platforms to be used, and then objectives. So this is how it links into your other units. So in principles of marketing, you will be learning about corporate objectives, business objectives. You'll be talking about marketing objectives and campaign objectives. So we want you to come up with one campaign objective for this blog post, and you will need to then express this. So is it that you want increased sales? Do you want a call to action? Do you want footfall into your shop? Do you just want brand awareness? Do you want clicks into your social media? What is going to be your objective of this campaign? And this needs to be really explicit and said in this client brief blog post. And then, what's your creative idea? We want to see, as the fourth element of this, your creative campaign idea. And you're going to have to come up with an idea, or if you're really creative, ideas that the client could take forward. So the top tips I'd always remind you that this is a visual assignment. Make sure it looks good, make sure it's exciting, make sure it's not boring for us to watch for 2 minutes, and that the client would be really excited about this campaign. Look at the nature of the pitch that you were enthusiastic about. Make sure that you've got your ideas, that you're enthusiastic about your ideas, and that you show your excitement and that you really want to work with this client, because that's the sort of things that clients will be looking for. Make sure that all of your student names and ID numbers are on the video at somewhere. So in this blog post, we expect everyone's student names and ID numbers there at some point. And we're not going to dictate where it is, but we want to be able to see it. And you're going to have to embed this video within your blog post, but also provide a clickable link that will be up for at least a month. So your blog post and this video blog needs to be up on YouTube or any of the platform that you want to use until after you've received your feedback. So those are the things that you need to remember.
Okay, so we've got them appraising a digital platform, blog post 1, blog post 2, a pitch by video. What comes in blog post 3?
So in blog post 3, as we reminded earlier, it's a bit more academic here. So we want you to write a 500-word academic justification on your campaign ideas and use of the chosen platform. So this is where you're going to bring in all this academic research you've done. So what journals have you read? What industry reports have you read? What really credible sources have you read around your platform and around your ideas? Why would making someone respond and have a two-way conversation with you on social media be more appropriate than to having a one-way conversation out with photos? What do you want? And this will link in really closely with your objectives that you've set. So you're going to have to now think of crafting a justification around this. You need to think of a robust rationale for the decisions that you've made. This is an employer, and this is someone that is going to be choosing your campaign idea over other agencies. So why would they do this? Why would your digital platform be the most appropriate? Why would your idea be the most appropriate? And you need to think about this, and you need to think about this as the suitability to your client. What is the point in coming up with a really good campaign that targets 20 to 35-year-olds if nobody can afford to buy your clothes in that area because they don't have much disposable income? Who is your true target audience? Who is your true target audience of your PlayStation VR, or who's going to have a cheeky Nando's? You need to think about these things, and you need to be able to justify all of the different choices that you've made throughout this process.
Okay, is there any other top tips or some stuff that they should be considering for this blog post as well?
So what I'd say is that what you need to consider, and it's not limited to this, so you can have some creativity and you need to be able to expand on this to get the really high marks, but the basic things that we want is you to briefly outline what you've decided as your client, the platform and your idea. Why have you chosen this platform, and why does it suit your specific client that you've chosen in blog post 2? And why is your creative idea suitable for this digital platform? So you can use your research and your case studies here to justify, and all of your different market data. So why is a two-way conversation really good in PlayStation VR when people are a bit more techie, or it's not appropriate in the cheeky nandos? What is appropriate? How do you respond to negative reviews? Are you going to do a campaign around that? And you need to think about this really strategically and always justify. Make a point, justify, and cite. We want to see some academic content. And you need to decide what response you expect from your target audience and justify that expectation.
Okay, last and finally, fourth post, but not least, because this is really important. So what would the fourth post be, and what do they need to be doing?
So as we mentioned all the way through, you're going to have to do a lot of research. You're going to have to look at what's going on in industry, what journals are writing about, what's going on and what clients are doing at the moment, what different brands are doing. And at the end of this, you're going to have a load of research that you've looked up, and we want to be able to credit this to you. So your fourth blog post is a list of academically credible sources. So anything that's used in 1 and 3, in blog post 1 and blog post 3 that you've used as part of your justifications, okay? We want to make sure that you're using academically credible sources. So remember, Wikipedia, random blogs that you can't respond and decide who is the author of that, are not going to be classed as credible academic sources. So we are looking for textbooks, and don't forget the core textbook, all of the reading that we put on Moodle, all of the reading that we identify towards you, industry, blog, and market industry research. All of these things are going to have to be done. So we want to see this full list of references. We want to see it as a full list of references with embedded links, and it has to be in Harvard referencing style.
Wonderful. We can expect everything to be perfect. And moving on, so the importance of that awarding marks. How are marks for each of the blog posts and the whole assignment going to be awarded?
So if you go on to your assignment brief and you look through, you will see on the assessment marking criteria that the first blog post is worth 50%, the second blog post is worth 25%, the third blog post is worth 20%, and the fourth blog post is worth 5%. And what we are going to be doing is looking at this carefully and reading this and circling where you are within each area. So you need to make sure that if you want a first class degree or a 2-1, that you've got good examples of digital platform, appraisal, or an excellent. And what we want you to be doing in your own time, going away, reading this and making sure you understand this marking criteria, and then coming back to us and asking questions if you don't, okay? So take some time to read this marking criteria so you know exactly what we will be marking you on, and coming back to your tutorial tutors or myself as the unit leader and asking me questions of any words that you don't understand or anything that you want clarifying. So this is where all the marks can be awarded, and this is where you'll find it.
And the submission deadline is?
So the submission deadline is going to be Wednesday the 13th of December by 5 to 12, okay? What we would say to you is if you are late, you will fail, as we mark all of submissions past that time at 5 to midnight at 0%, okay? Any late submissions, you won't get a capped mark, you will get a mark of 0 as if you had not submitted it at all, okay? Okay,
so as a tutor, I know feedback's going to be really important for the students I'm working with in tutorials. When will the feedback be given to the students?
So this is the really joyous moment for us, is when we mark for the 4 weeks over Christmas and you have a nice break. We'll be marking as tutors and we'll be doing our moderation process. So you'll be getting your feedback in your tutorials week commencing the 8th of January. So wherever your tutorial lies within that week, you'll be getting your feedback sheets, okay? One individual grading sheet will be given per group, So you won't be getting individual grading sheets handed to you. You'll be given individual marks. You'll be getting 1 grade for the group, and you'll be given these in your seminar. And if you don't attend your seminar, you'll need to wait until the week after to get your feedback, okay? Or unless you manage to catch your tutor in between. What I would say is that during that session, we'll be talking about the things that generally have gone wrong in the assignment, what generally people can improve overall throughout the cohort, and also you'll have to digest and read carefully all of your feedback on this grading criteria and all the feedback that's written on that.
Someone's just messaged me to ask you this question, but how does the work get submitted?
So the work gets submitted online. And this is one of the things I was going to get to eventually. But basically, what you're going to be doing is posting all these blogs online. And when you submit them, you'll be submitting them via Moodle and you'll be downloading them as a PDF. So what we have got is Web to PDF, which is a piece of software. You just put the web link in and it will download your post as a PDF. Or if you worked out other ways to do it, you can do that way. You'll be downloading your posts as PDFs. And your link will be, that we asked you to have, will be also for the video. Yeah? So it'll be PDFs and a link. So you'll be given some time during that tutorial to digest your grading sheet, and you can ask questions to your tutor as a group after that, and to make sure that you understand the feedback.
Okay, just to underline, obviously there's going to be stuff on Moodle for all students to look at and links and everything. Is there any additional resources, or I just want to clarify the specific places you want students to be getting their information resource from?
So if you look on Moodle, you'll be able to see that we've got the core text and we've got all different things, and we'll be putting on each week different journal articles or book chapters that we expect you to read. So those things will be directly straight onto Moodle in the week section. So if this week, for example, we've put Ryan up as something that we expect you to read this week, and we've put a direct link on the Moodle area, okay? There'll be loads of lecture material, and the references at the end of lecture material might be a good reference point for you. There'll be different things posted by different tutors on social media. So if you follow DMMP 1718 on Twitter, there'll be things that go up in Twitter, and it'll be on the Moodle area in the right hand side once we link in the 2 accounts. There'll be reading lists on the library. So if you go onto DMMP, so Digital Media and Marketing Platforms in the library, we have a reading list which is set up week by week, and there'll be loads of different resources. And if you look onto these slides, I've given you some straight away. Some marketing data and reports, so Mintel is one of them, e-consultancy blog. We've given you academic papers and a link to one straight away in that document, which is a 2008 social media one. And there's loads of different things that we'll put out to you, but the main point that we've got to make here is that you're picking which platform you want to do, you're picking the client, and you're picking your campaign. So it's down to you as groups to research around your topic.
Excellent. So any sort of final top tips to just lay on top of all those things that we've talked about? Is there any sort of specific things within sessions, tutorial sessions, lectures you want to just cover now?
So each week we're going to be working towards this coursework. So for example, this week we're going through video creation. We're going to be talking through different platforms. So each week the tutorials will be really, really, really important for you to understand what is going on, what you should be doing, and getting some really good work together. You'll need to be looking at some real life examples. So what is going on in the market? Keep a look on Manchester Digital, and don't forget to read different industry blog posts. But take it with the blind eye that you know that these are their own public relations method, and that they're going to say that everything is good, and you're going to have to do some more academic, credible, unbiased research as well. So we're going to be asking you each week to remind you that you've got embedded links that you need to do, and you need to do the references. And what we always recommend you to do is to make sure that between the group of you, you're always reading each other's work and that you're giving tips. The most important top tip that I can give you is do not wait until 5 to the deadline to submit, as the internet will not work as quickly as you want it to do. You'll submit 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, and you'll get a mark of 0. Happens every year with groups. Do not let that be you.
Good. And any support available, or what support is available for students throughout the assignment and the term?
So if you look on the lecture schedule, the second week before, so the week before the deadline, we'll be doing a rebrief. We'll just be clarifying all the top tips, all of the questions that we've been asked as tutors. So there'll be another briefing session like this, which will be broadcast live. You'll be able to ask your tutor in the seminars loads of questions, and that is going to be a really important resource to you if you need anything clarifying. There is a Moodle forum set up that is specific to questions. We will not be replying to individual questions around referencing, around where to find information. All of these sorts of things are questions that can be asked publicly on Moodle, as there are 240 of you on this course, so everyone can benefit from the answer if they're asked on Moodle. So if you do ask a question, make sure it's on the Moodle forum. We'll be doing dedicated one-to-one support sessions in the last couple of weeks of term, so you'll be able to book appointments with your tutor or with myself as the unit leader, and you'll be able to get some support as a one-to-one with your group and ask loads of questions and get some personalised pre-submission feedback. But remember, we do not proofread your work. You have to come to us with questions. You have to have specific questions for us. We are not there to give you feed forward. We are there to give you answer questions and be your resource. And that is the big step up from college and what would be expected as part of your education at university level.
Good. So once this is over, which is shortly coming to an end, what should all the students be doing now and going ahead as soon as they leave this Hangout live stream?
So what I'll be doing today is I'll make sure that these slides are updated and that this is updated on Moodle to make sure that everything is perfect. So I'll give it a last proofread, but you should be downloading the assignment, which most people have already done, and print a copy of the assignment and be bringing that with you, because then you can always refer to what you should be doing in your tutorials, in your seminar, and asking us really good informative questions. Make sure that you read the grading criteria. That is how you find out how to play the game, how we are actually marking it, what are we actually looking for in every single section, and how we're going to reward the grades. So if you play the game and think about that very strategically, you'll be able to ask us questions around that grading criteria and make sure you understand it and make sure you respond to that. You need to make sure that you have identified different roles within your group. Not all of you are going to be excellent library researchers or excellent Harvard references in your 3rd week at university, or even in your 12th week at university when you're submitting this. So who's going to be a really good writer who'll be able to put it all together? Who's going to be your finisher, who makes sure that there's no typos? Who's going to be your researcher? Who's going to be really good with a camera or really good at video editing? So when you're forming your groups in your tutorial, make sure you're really strategic and that you've got really specific roles and that you're not all really creative and don't have any writing skills and don't have any research skills. So make sure that you are planning the best group possible and then attacking the task as the best group possible. So the other thing that I'd always say is at the end of each tutorial, you're going to have to post on your blog. So you're going to be working in these groups the rest of this term, and you need to schedule straight away who is going to be posting each week. So it might be this week, I'm going to do it, next week you'll do it, next week you'll do it, next week you'll do it, then it's back to me. Who is going to be posting these blog posts? Because there's going to have to be content all the time. So Mark, any more questions?
There are no more questions appearing on the live stream. There's some inside the room. Can they ask them now? Otherwise, we're all done. So does anyone want to ask anything?
No? So that's all the information you're going to get this week from us around the coursework brief. We're going to be available in the tutorials this week to ask one-to-one questions, and we're going to be available for the rest of this term. We're going to have a rebrief, so you will be reminding you of all these points towards the end of this term. But make sure you watch this as many times as you can to get as much information from it and download all of these key important documents.
You can download the slides, yeah.
Yeah, the slides are up there. You can download them. Okay? Have a great week. Bye.
Excellent. Goodbye.